Well, for all you wrestling fans out there that keep asking me, Archie, make a video about wrestling, make a video about this part of wrestling, make a video about TNA sucking, well, you're going to get all that today. I recently heard a segment of the Don Tony and Kevin Castle show talking about an interview that Chris Jericho had with some satellite radio program, and the hosts asked him, the hosts on the satellite radio show asked Chris what he thought TNA did wrong, where did they go wrong, and he offered his 2 cents on it. I want to read over the excerpt here real quick before I get into the meat of things here. So anyways, let me just put it on the screen here for you guys. Alright, TNA, what are they doing wrong? Chris says, it's hard to be the number 2 company in such a small market as far as wrestling fans. I mean, there are 10 million wrestling fans across the states. If you want a fast food burger and there's McDonald's and Arthur's Burgers, and Arthur's Burgers is the best and everyone tells you it's the best, McDonald's is what we know. Let's go here. WWE is the name in pro wrestling. TNA wrestling is already behind the 8 ball, so they would have to do something completely different the way that ECW did in 1994 and 1995. But there is nothing different anymore because everything has been seen or done. One of the things is that it just comes across as a retread. When I turn on and I see Eric Bischoff or Hulk Hogan or Sting in this day and age, you automatically think that this is the old guys league. No matter what they do, they still rely on those guys. The only way TNA can do it is if they come up with some new guys that just popped huge that didn't come from WWE. All of their main guys came from WWE, like Jeff Hardy, Kurt Angle, Bubba Ray Dudley, and they're all great. They are great performers. Bubba is doing the best work of his career right now, but still, he is Bubba Ray Dudley, and is always going to be that. You need to get that guy that comes out of nowhere that maybe gets turned down by the WWE Performance Center because they didn't like his look, and suddenly he becomes the next Rey Mysterio or the next John Cena or the next Mick Foley or somebody that changes the way things go. But also, you need to get the eyeballs attracted to that guy so you can make it roll. It's a tough position to be in. I don't envy what they are doing, and they don't take a lot of chances. I don't watch the show, but the Bound for Glory, and he's got 18 points, and he's got 15 points, and it's a 12-week tournament, and it's like, who has the time to follow this stuff? When I watch wrestling, I don't want to think. I just want to enjoy it. I don't want to do mathematical equations and figure it out. If there's a round robin and there are your brackets, and I get it. But if you win, if you get disqualified, if you get 5 points or 12 points, I don't get it. I'll just put on Seinfeld instead. Now, that's a very interesting perspective, and I gotta say, I agree a lot with what Jericho said. Because when I myself turn on a product like TNA Wrestling, I used to watch TNA for years on end, specifically like years 1 through 6 in the company. And it did come across as a little bit innovative compared to the previous wrestling products and current wrestling products like the WWE and Ring of Honor. But then it evolved into what the modern day state of TNA is, with the old guys, the older guys, the pre-established guys like the Sting, like the Hogan, like Jeff Hardy, like Kurt Angle, and there's not really anything wrong per se for using that, but when you become, and your show becomes the focal point, and those characters are a big clog at the top of what the majority of the attention is, it does, as Jericho said, look like the old guys league. And it's kind of like what WCW fell into as well, with bringing in guys like Hogan and all that. And I know guys like Hogan went back into WWE after WCW became huge stars. They're again reborn. But the whole 6-sided ring, the emphasis on the X division, like the high-flying action, the total nonstop action, all that was great in its infancy. But it's just like, you're still the second-tier product. You're still the product, and it never really caught on. Like a ECW did, as Jericho pointed out in like 94, 95, that was this big revolutionary force in what hardcore wrestling was. TNA never caught on from that end as far as the action aspect, as their name is, Total Nonstop Action. And it's at the point now where the company is in dire straits. There's employees that aren't getting paid. There's people that are getting fired, like Hulk Hogan's daughter, Brooke Hogan, who, rumor has it, was getting paid more money than 70% of the performers on the show, simply because she's Hulk Hogan's daughter. And she has the big, ridiculous horse face. But anyway, TNA... I've always said, and I said this past summer, I said I give TNA till around Christmas, let them have their final pay-per-view of the year, and they're going to fold up shop. We'll see if that holds true, and for all we know, they could turn things around. But at this point, it's like, why even bother? I mean, WWE has such a stranglehold on the industry right now to try and compete with them for ratings. And it's not like WWE is exactly, you know, swimming in ratings that are just dropping out of the sky like little raindrops. If WWE is struggling, the wrestling industry is struggling. And that's what you're getting too. It's unfortunate that TNA is trying to come forth in a time that WWE has just been on a persistent decline in viewership and interest. And I mean, it may not be necessarily reflective of the product itself, but it's just the climate of the culture right now. More people are watching Monday Night Football. You have the juggernaut like the NFL going up against Monday Night Raw. Someone like me now who watched, you know, Stone Cold and Vince McMahon go face to face over Monday Night Football to now where it's like, I don't even consider turning the channel when Monday Night Football's on. And it's not like I'm jaded from one specific thing in wrestling. It's just the interest isn't there anymore. It just doesn't interest me. And obviously with the ratings trends, a lot of people are in the same boat as I am. So there's a lot of things wrong with TNA, and I could make a video that's an hour long. I know some people are going to be like, make an hour long video saying what's wrong with TNA. But Chris Jericho summed it up, I feel, very well. I mean, there's a few things I have fallen contention with, like, you know, he's given an opinion on the show and he says, now I don't watch the product, or that everything has been done. Something else can always be done. Whenever someone says, like, oh, comedy movies are just all old and tired because everything has been done comedically, something can always be done. The same can be held for wrestling, same can be done for action movies, for the way a coach coaches a football game, etc., etc. So, I don't think that all is lost completely for a second-tier company to try and exist in the world of wrestling with WWE dominating the world stage. Just one final note, and I just kind of want to put this out there for just TNA fans to think about. Just something I've always felt that was, I don't know if you want to call it weird or just a sign of them just not being taken seriously in the industry, is that during their now 10+ year of existence in TNA, there hasn't been one single star from that company that originated in TNA. I mean, I know every name eventually, you know, at some point came from like a independent federation or doing house shows at a local firehouse or shit like that. But being a marketable televised show, there hasn't been one single person from TNA that started there and was signed by WWE. Like they said, oh, we got to get AJ Styles. We got to get Christopher Daniels. We got to get Samoa Joe. It's like WWE never went out of their way to get that talent. And I ask you guys, TNA fans, why is that? Because when there's guys like, you know, Chris Jericho or Steve Austin in ECW, and WWE got attention towards them, they were like, we got to have these guys. We got to sign them. We got to give them a shot. And it's like, I think Kazarian was on NXT and he fizzled out. The only name that I could think of that even got a decent representation in WWE and got over with the crowd was Awesome Kong. But then she got pregnant and she was done in like a month or two, and it was like finally someone that was a debut character on television in TNA transitioned over to WWE and got over with the crowd and was intricate in storylines. Why doesn't anyone else from TNA? Why has Beer Money never come over? Why has, I mean, so much of the X division, and if they did come over, like a guy like Kazarian, the crowd doesn't accept them. Like, why is that? You saw it all the time with guys, like I said, like Chris Jericho in WCW. He's over with the crowd there. The second he comes to WWF, he was over with the crowd there. There's so many examples. Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, to a lesser extent Perry Saturn, when the Radicals came over. It's just bizarre that a company that has been promoting, in essence, a televised wrestling product for 10 plus years, like, WWE just didn't even care. They just didn't even care to take any of their big name talent. Now, I know you could be like, well, they took guys like Jeff Hardy back and Rob Van Dam back, and they were over with the crowds when they came back to WWE. But yeah, but they were WWE or in Rob Van Dam's case, an ECW original. It's not the same as saying, like, oh, they got Samoa Joe, and then he was over with the crowd the second he came into WWE. I don't know. I always found that interesting, and I always felt that spoke volumes about how they're viewed as a wrestling company, and why should fans really take them seriously? Like, they're the company that produces nothing for the big granddaddy company of them all, the WWE. Anyway, wrestling fans out there, I finally made a video there for you, and there's a bunch of you out there going, oh, I want to see more YouTube drama. What is this wrestling shit? Sorry, guys. All can't be I said wrestling drama. All can't be YouTube drama videos. Anyways, yeah, expect for me to make another video when TNA goes completely belly up, and I have a gut feeling it's going to happen real soon. Looks like Hulk Hogan's contract is done in October. Not that he's like a big staple that holds the 1 million people that watch that product on a weekly basis there, but that company's dwindling apart. The writing's on the wall. It's the last days of Pompeii here. This is what WCW looked like when it was going down. This is what ECW looked like when it was going down. People getting fired, people not getting their contracts renegotiated or extended, and workers flat out not getting paid. I mean, ECW was notorious for bouncing checks. And here we are in modern day and era here, and TNA's doing the same damn thing. I don't know if they're bouncing checks, they're just flat out not paying people, some production people. And people are quitting, especially in the production end of things. But sucks, because I have a feeling by the first quarter of next year we're going to see the best of TNA video released by WWE. 2-disc set, maybe 3. Who knows? Maybe it'll just be 1. But it's just a sad time to be a fan of wrestling, because just the pop of it in culture is no longer there. Like, if you lived in the Attitude Era like I did and just saw how ridiculously popular it was, and that's why I get nostalgic about it. And even though my interest isn't in the industry right now, I mean, I could still make a video like this, reminiscent about it, just speaking, like, you know, like, I would love to see the days of it getting popular again, but I won't hold my breath on it. Anyways, I've droned on long enough. Have a great day, everyone.